Hi everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing another animated film, this time Watership Down. This review was suggested by my friend Alex John, so I'd like to thank him for that. Okay, so, Watership Down. Rabbits are fleeing their homes after it's being destroyed by man to find a safer shelter, and this movie is known for being one of the darkest animated films of all time. And it does have a PG rating, but keep in mind, this was 1978. PG-13 hadn't existed until the mid-80s after movies like Gremlins and Indiana Jones really showed that there was something needed between PG and R. So, this isn't your typical PG movie that's going to be like Alvin and the Chipmunks or anything from Pixar or some Disney movie that says fart or has an implied innuendo that's not even that bad and could only be found by a dirty mind. No. This movie is seriously dark. And that does make it fascinating in some ways. We really see how the rabbits are affected by humans having to leave their home and go on amongst other perils, being shot at, predators attack, and even their own kind can be extremely vicious. Some rabbits are killed by other rabbits for this movie, as well as some are eaten by predators, and there's all kinds of grisly ideas here, not the least of which come from the villain and his followers, Woundwort, and all his followers are basically a cult, and anyone that leaves without permission is subject to due punishment in their eyes. So yeah, this is a very disturbing animated film, but at the same time it is fascinating in the sense of it shows the hardships creatures go through, more so than even movies like Bambi or The Land Before Time do. It's a lot of heavy material, and there's very few moments of real levity in it. There is one bird character, Kia, who acts as an ally to the rabbits, and he has a couple of cute moments, but other than that, this movie is dark all the way through. Other things I like are some of the legends of the god Frith and the first rabbit, and how once it became too many of them and they started to take other animals' foods, Frith punished the rabbit by having the other animals become predatory towards them, and then after they had suffered, they get their quickness as well as the wit to be able to escape from potential threats. So that is a really interesting concept, and I really enjoyed how that played out into the movie. And that's probably one of the best parts of it, really. How it has its own religion almost for the rabbits. And unlike other movies, it's not portrayed as something that is inherently evil or just a falseness by the animals, like something they use to discriminate against others or impose rules or explain things for. No, it's good beliefs as well as showing some real insight into their life, as well as creating a world that, while it's not fantastical as other animated films are viewed, does feel nice and separate from our own for these rabbits. The animation for this movie is very beautiful. It's some of the most realistic animation I've ever seen. The faces are, for the animals, are given a lot of expression, a little bit of humanity to them, but it's never in any way cartoonish, which really is important because this is not a cartoonish film whatsoever. It's not a comedy. It's serious, it's dark, and it's very violent. So it only fits that the animation would be that way. And the characters all look very realistic and detailed. Some of them a bit too much so, like designs on characters like Woundwort, or when we're seeing some of the grisly blood of character deaths. Yeah, this movie definitely doesn't shy away from showing the brutal, realistic nature of how animals are in the wild. But then there's even a sense of beauty for a lot of it. The backgrounds all are very well rendered and lush. There's very little color, which again works for the film's tone, and even moments that are underground and look eerie, or when animation turns dark, or or anything else that's ominous, it's still very beautiful to look at. The film also uses shadows a lot to convey mystery and darkness for the rabbits, often when they're watching over something or talking to each other. And really, that does show some real unease, uncertainty. Take your pick of words, but a very discomforting feeling to the movie. I also love the way some of these scenes are for the more fantastic elements of the movie, such as the opening with Frith and all the animals, and how it's almost done in a picture book like style. And then later on, we have a pretty little number by Art Garfunkel called Bright Eyes, and it's shortly after some really dark scenes, but it's a nice change of pace, and we get some nice animation there that's almost like how cave paintings might have been for these for animals, like paintings done by early humans. Going on to the characters, Fiverr is the seer and the one that's realizing that their home is going to be destroyed, so he's the one to really get them all to go, and they don't all believe him, which leads to mishaps along the way for them, while Hazel is the leader, and he is a very named character that offers important advice to help the rabbits survive along their way. And he is a kind of rabbit to make sure to help any of a rabbit in need when they come across Clover and a female rabbit and her friends are imprisoned in a cage. And then we have Kia, who, like I said before, is sort of the closest thing to comic relief, and he is a really cute character, and he's pretty much the one element of light in this whole movie, while still maintaining an important role by scouting out for the rabbits. And then we have our villain, General Woundwort, who is one of the darkest villains in an anime film I've seen, and probably one of the ones that I would say is the darkest of anything I've reviewed as of yet. The serial killer from Erased being majorly accepted from that rule. But back to Woundwort. He is a tyrannical cult leader, and he expects everybody to do as he says and punishes those that go against him brutally. And the darkest part of him is that he marks rabbits as soon as they come to him, so they know when they're allowed out, and any rabbit that doesn't go with what he says, I don't even want to go into it. Yeah. So definitely a dark element of an already terrifying film. In case you somehow missed this, this isn't a film for kids. In spite of the fact this has a PG rating, which again has changed a lot since then, and that it somehow got a U and was never re-rated in the United Kingdom or re-rated in the United States. This is a very dark and grisly film with some dark themes that are shockingly human in certain ways with how brutal they are, especially with the villain. But it's also a fascinating film with some beautiful animation. So I would say that if you can stomach violence towards animals in this sort of thing, it would be worth checking out. For parents that want a good nature movie for their kids, I would say stick with movies like Bambi instead, or The Fox and the Hound, most Disney animal movies, or even Don Bluth ones, like The Secret of Nim. Yeah, I'm saying The Secret of Nim is lighter than this. That should give some people an idea. But like I said, do not watch this with your kids unless they're really tough. And this movie, I would have to say, similarly to Grave of the Fireflies, Erased, and Belladonna of Sadness, has some very great elements, but it comes across as something that is not fun at all to watch. So I will say that it's in the objectively brilliant, but not particularly enjoyable in my eyes range. But of those videos I talked about before, this is the one that I'd be most likely to watch again. So, as always, please leave a movie you want me to review in the comments section below, and until then, see you later.